Hi, I'm David Anderson, here with João Ramos of the Lode ZX Spectrum Museum, and we're here to talk more about the Timex Sinclair 1500. As if you think we've exhausted the subject, we have barely begun to scratch the surface.
Hi,
Um,
David.
João, you were telling me that you have some big news and some goings on.
Yeah, plenty of things going on at the moment. So I just came out of one of the best weekends in my life related to the spectrum matters and the museum matters at least. So we've been, as we announced recently, we are filming a documentary about Timex Portugal. Not only the computers, but everything they did, but obviously the computers is the focus.
Cool.
It's collaboration between the Portuguese national TV station, FTP, its name, and with a video producer company that challenged us, I don't know, 2 years ago. And so we started the museum and them start dreaming about this, dreaming about telling this story. And so eventually they are the ones managing all this process. They were able to convince the national TV to fund a documentary, a 1 hour documentary about Timex Portugal, and a more than 1 hour, a 20-minute, a 4 episode series
Hmm.
about the work of the museum. So it will also touch some things about Timex, but it's not specifically about Timex. So this last weekend we were in the former facilities of Timex Portugal, where now there's another IT company that works for military, government, and things like that. So things are very strict in terms of having access to it. The fact is that they were very keen to support us and collaborate with us. There are still 3 or 4 people that moved from Timex to this company, so they
Oh
spent
my
their whole
gosh.
career there. Yeah, it's nice. One of them is the production director, Pedro, the production director of Timex Portugal. Um, Production of the computers, not production of the TV
Mhm.
series. So Pedro Esteves was one of them, and he was also one of the interviews. We had Luís Bandeira, which was another of the 5 original employees of the computer area. And so he lives in Brazil, so we stayed here a couple of more weeks to do all of this. So an entire weekend of emotions at the highest possible level. Rosalina, which gives the name to one of the rooms in our museum, because she's the person that helped us to understand better what happened at Timex. So she was the one introducing us to almost everyone at Timex. So a very dear friend of mine, and so it's always a pleasure to go back to that place with her, because she grew up there. She was the
Mhm.
son of the person taking care of the location of the agricultural part of the place. Um, but then we had other people from the engineering, like Rui Morgado. He's already he has been part of many things we do in the museum. He has always very nice stories to tell about their work. He worked directly with the son of Fred Olson in the electroluminescence technology,
Mm,
which,
okay.
by the way, finally, and because of what I will tell you after, we finally get a brochure, an official Timex brochure in Portuguese, in English only, about the electroluminescence technology.
Oh,
They use the technology. I didn't remember this anymore, but they told me this before. They use this technology to do some logos for Ford, and the Ford, the car manufacturer, yeah,
yeah.
for some kind of concept prototypes. So they were exploring the usage of electroluminescence technology for many things.
Huh.
The fact is that they couldn't control the technology back then. It was very difficult to use. And so it's one area that we know about, but we don't have anything to show. Now we have the brochure. We're waiting to get some other stuff. So things are progressing. But on top of these individuals that we know already, of course, there were other people, and it's very important because we also had well, we had Luís Moisão. He was one of he was in TIMEX since the very beginning. So he focused in everything related to quality matters and watch manufacturing. So he was related to the projects with IBM. Many of those things he was there from the very beginning. And then we had some ladies that worked in the assembly line, both of the watches, both of the computers. And it's funny because then you start to understand how things were organized. For example, the assembly line of the computers, you have different stages, okay? And each person would specialize in a stage. For example, one thing I didn't know, you had people in the initial part of the assembly line, you had people specialized in certain components. So one of the persons I spoke to, she was specialized in putting diodes in the PCB.
Right.
Not capacitors, not resistors, diodes. That was the part she would do. Then it's funny because everyone knows they had ways to, because they didn't know anything about electronics. That was not the purpose, but they had ways to refer to the components with funny names and things like that. So we are exploring that. The official interviews itself for the documentary, I can't tell much because I was not even there. I was interviewed also, but I was not in the interviewing anyone. That's up to my friends from the company from Galgo that is doing this. But we also captured some testimonies of all these workers for an additional thing we want to have in the museum, testimonials of these employees. And so it is our expectation that in October or around that, we will edit it somehow and show some of these things in some events that we'll be doing. It's also related to some fund that we applied to do this additional work. And it will happen for sure during this year. So I think we are... So we know the people, we know what they did, we have many ideas, but now we're doing something that will be visible for everyone. I don't want to promise that we will subtitle it, but of course it's on my list that we need to subtitle at least the part of the museum. So we'll find a way to...
Well, maybe YouTube will do the translation. That sometimes happens.
Yeah, I don't
sometimes
think it works that well. Yeah. From my experience in Portuguese language, I don't think it works that well.
Okay.
I haven't checked I'm waiting for the sources of the raw materials. We filmed for the museum filmed on the outside of the building. So there was plenty of wind. We were using micros, so I don't expect a major issue, but there will be background noise for sure.
Yeah.
So all of that will affect. Let's see how it goes. The other thing is, we went to film in the attic of one of the involved individuals. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I arrived there, because he told me, oh, I have some things to give to the museum. And I was like, okay, I have some space in my car. I was counting on it. I was not expecting what I saw. We are talking about the biggest donation of materials, and materials includes mostly hardware, but also documentation, both, but I think more hardware than documentation, which would be almost impossible to donate more documentation than what we got already from Professor Álvaro de Oliveira. But this time we are talking about the commercial director, the guy that went to China, for example, to try to sell the 10net technology. So we're talking about Luís Bandeira, the commercial director. So we're talking about the guy that was closer to the market. So the things they were trying to produce and see if they would find a way to continue with all of this, he was there. So we know already we have dozens of floppy disks with very interesting content. We have innumerous variations of interfaces without certain parts that in the, let's say, the known versions, they are there. So many variants. Brazilian machines, because he went to Brazil to try to source ULAs to be able to produce more computers. Because the problem is, when Amstrad bought Sinclair, they had a problem because Amstrad didn't continue to work with the Timex in Portugal, and so that was the beginning of the end. So they tried to find other ways to do it, but even, for example, the thing about China didn't went because they could not agree with Amstrad on a way to license the ROM for it. So there are
Mm.
many things to be unveiled. I don't have the items yet. They are with some friends that went to get it. But I'm very excited, and we'll have plenty to talk years and years.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so on my side, those are the biggest news.
Wow. Well, I've not been that busy. I mean, I've been a little busy, but not that busy. um, what I did do was pull out all of the 1500 stuff I have, and this all came from Middlebury. So the provenance of this, what I'm going to show you in a second is there was a guy named Eric Johnson whose uncle worked at Timex in Middlebury, and when Middlebury shut down, his uncle said to him, "Hey, I got a ton of stuff. Do you want it?" And Eric said yes, and it went into Eric's garage. Apparently, from my understanding, Eric's garage was chock full, and some of it eventually escaped Eric's garage through a friend. Um, and then eventually it made its way to me. So um, what I tried to do here was put these things in order of of development,
Date.
production, date order. Okay. And so I'm going to start with, I have two tops in essence, right? Two case tops. And, to my eye, this looks like a regular production version 1500. The colors look okay. Because you had showed me, you'd showed us a keyboard where there was the rubber portion keyboard where the colors were slightly different, right?
Yeah, we noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and as I'm doing this, I'm like, hey, there's those grooves that we were talking about in the last episode. I don't know if those are speed bumps or go faster stripes or what. um,
Yeah.
so this is this other top that I have. Um, and my suspicion is that these stickers meant something to somebody who was working on this at some point in time, but that information has been lost to the mists of time, so who knows what this means.
You don't have the bottom, do you? Is there anything on
um
the bottom?
yes, yeah, the bottoms are actually at the bottom of this list.
Okay.
um so this is the earliest board that I have, and the date code on the reverse of it is I'm trying to remember what this was this the 13th week? I'd have to double check, but I think this was like the 13th week in 83.
So
So
before the launch. Yeah.
yes, yes, so these are ones where they're working on developing the product. Like down here at the bottom, it just says Timex TS1500 139 issue B. It doesn't have the regular 338 dash number, right? And it's got a real crystal. So, and then this is the bottom of it, and you can see, yep, over here over on the right hand side, you can read. If you turn your head sideways, you can read some of those bits of information about the board itself, the physical board. Um, this is a little bit later in 83. And there's not a lot of difference. They're still using this, prototype-ish RF modulator. They haven't switched to the Aztec modulator yet. And not much difference in terms of the routing. I've looked at the PCBs and I can see some subtle differences in them. And then this, what was the date on this? I don't remember the exact date on this, but this is later. Obviously, it's got to be at least June, because the date code on that modulator is June
Yeah,
8th.
the modulator is June
It's
June
the
83.
right, yeah. Um, and then this is not the one that I was hoping to would have there's a board. One of these has a little carve out on it.
Oh,
So this to me is really cool. This is, clearly an old style board, an old style modulator, but it's only got the two RAM chips, and it's got a bunch of wires running over in order to provide the signals to those two RAM
Yeah.
chips. And it's missing some power supply stuff over here on the right. And then one of the other notable differences is that the two chips, U6 and it looks like U3, have been replaced with resistors. So those were two buffer chips on the prior versions, and now they've replaced them with resistors. This board is what led into this board. And you see this bank of
Oh,
resistors right there in the middle. So this is a development of the previous board, and this is that sort of cost reduced version of the
yeah.
1500. Two RAM chips. They move things around a little bit. You see the ULA moved over, or the SCLD, sorry.
Yeah.
And there's the bottom of this. It's got some real oxidation. It looks like it's been through a fire. I don't think so. I think that's just oxidation. And then this is an even later board. I don't know what's going on here. It has
This
the
is
right.
this is the one from the photoliths, the transparency things.
Yeah,
Yeah, that I have here. It should be from similar to that version, I think.
yeah. And it's got the right, it's got the 338 number on the bottom. So clearly this is, a later board. It has that 5060 solderable jumper,
Oh
50,
yeah,
60 hertz
yeah, we
solderable
saw that.
jumper, right? But in the lower left,
You have all.
you can see this sort of hand done letraset just all over the place.
Someone dropped the numbers there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, this is not the one. There's one of these, and I'm just going to try to skip ahead until I find. Okay, I guess I didn't do it. And then here's the bottoms, right? And these are kind of cool to me
64394.
because you know they've got these serial numbers on them. By the way, you were talking about the two different kinds of um, of RF
Shielding.
shielding. Thank you. So this is
Yeah.
this is the bright silver one,
Yeah.
like in the 1000, and then the sort of the
The
dark gray.
graffiti, kind of graffiti one. I have one like this, I think.
Yeah, and that thing in the upper left is a little piece of aluminum foil wrapped.
And it touches the modulator, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I think it is. I know they played with it.
But yeah, they played with it, and it didn't last, obviously, because here's another one that doesn't have that, right? And then here's another one of the silvery ones. Um,
And so
and
the
then
bottom
these serial
31,
numbers are,
35.
yeah. I would love to
Okay.
figure out what this means. Like, P, I assume means that
No,
produced.
no, P is from Portugal for
That's what I'm
sure.
thinking.
Then it's the serial number, and then the model there they give it's kind of a not a part number. It's an idea of the product itself. Mark Klusterman, I'm sure will
Oh,
be seeing this with us. He has the list of those things. I do know one thing they regret, but I think that's more for the Spectrum. They regret that they didn't put any kind of serial numbers in the ones they developed in Portugal.
mm,
Obviously, there were some that were marked with the serial number. There are even Spectrums with two serial numbers, and
hmm.
that's something, one in red, one in blue. But the fact is, Timex Portugal did not implement a very good way for now to know how many they did and those kind of things. So
So
it's not
so
like we can trust totally the serial numbers.
they weren't thinking about us, huh?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So I was in this attic that I was telling you about,
Hmm.
and we were going through some things, and the guy picks a 2068, and he tells me a Portuguese one, and he says, "Oh, it's just a Timex Portugal 2068, a TC 2068. Probably there's nothing special with it." And I pick the computer, I look underneath it, and it says serial number 9, and I was like, "No,
Nothing
it is.
special.
No, this one is special." And I was like, "What?"
Well, and so
And that's
speaking of,
the risk. It can end up being given away or something. It's obviously there are plenty of those, but come
yeah,
on, we need to preserve this.
and here's serial number nothing.
Yeah,
No sticker at all.
very common.
And then, this kind of variation of serial number, I have no idea where this would have been produced.
No, it says made in Portugal
Oh, does it? I'm
still.
sorry.
No,
Okay.
it says, because the place where it says made in Portugal always It's not because of the P, is on the top. You have the FCC ID certificate, TIMEX Computer Corporation, made in Portugal.
Okay. This one, you can see the little sticker. It says small board. So this is the one that has
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the cost
I have no idea
reduction.
why I have this second picture here. But yeah.
Now let me think. Small board is not the one from 85. No, the 85 is another one.
Yeah.
Because 85 is really puzzling because TIMEX Computer Corporation had unfolded by 85.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, how did they get, a run of SCLDs from NCR with a date code of, early 1985? That to me is a mystery. I mean, somebody, there must have been a reason.
Yeah.
And I'll have to compare the serial.
Look, as simple as this, we can do one thing to compare. I wonder what are the date codes on the computer sent to Argentina, because that happened later.
Yeah.
And so they would need to have parts to do that batch, for example. Okay. So the CZ 1500, I think that's the name, 1500. That computer is a TS1500. So, and that is later than what happened in Portugal. So probably that is in 85 or something like that. So I can easily compare with the one we have and see if it seems similar. I don't have it here. I had it in the weekend for the filming, but I put it in the museum yesterday, so we need to check later. Okay, another line of investigation to follow. Okay, shall we go to our paperwork? Because at this speed, I think 10 episodes are not enough.
People are going to come at us with knives.
Yeah. So, if I'm not mistaken, last time we went until the end of February, which means in our famous short list Excel file, we did in the previous documentation episodes these two parts. So the one in yellow is the one we did in last episode. So we'll start with March now. We have 6 documents or something. So let's see if we can go 6 or 7. Let's go through them and see if they have something interesting or not. So I have them here. Let's start in order and see what they are. So, and I just remember everyone, I haven't seen them recently. So this is also new to me.
Yeah.
Well, this one is not properly classified because it's May, it's not March. We're talking about Telex to Álvaro Oliveira and Tony Gomes. With knowledge to Branning and DeVito, Nathan, Pond and Ross, FFI units. Okay. This is something that we will read a lot about. I think if this is the only document that is from May, we can come back to this later. But bottom line, while they were doing not a challenge, competition to see who would come up with a certain better version of the 1500 between Portugal and USA, knowing that the assembly will be done in Portugal, whichever version won, there was a process that people were not that happy because there were 6 machines that were having difficulty to arrive. They were stuck in customs. They needed to do some RFI testing and they couldn't, so they were complaining about all of that. So this is related to that. So if you agree, this is from Lou Gailey. I will skip this document and move to the next.
Yeah. Let's come back to it. But that's an interesting topic.
Yeah, we can reclassify it again. Am I looking at the right
May.
folder? Because everything is from May. Yeah, this one is also from May. Pilot production, 250 quality control models.
Okay.
Again, shipping issues.
Well, you're in the April folder.
Yeah, I am. So the first 2 documents are wrongly classified, so I will change it afterwards. Okay, so now we are in March 24.
Yeah.
From DeVito to this huge list where there is Tony Gomes from Portugal. The other ones, we recognize some of the names. Vitor Schiff, for example.
Yeah.
Ross Nathan.
Victor Schiff.
attached is the tickle list for FW13, showing the activities currently due, past due, or which start or finish within the next 4 weeks. Please review and report your status to Ellen or myself this week. And this is from...
Oh, go back to the top again. Was it DeVito?
Yeah, from
AF
DeVito.
DeVito.
AF DeVito. Okay,
Oh,
it's here.
yeah.
The
And then Helen
name.
is the HF.
Ellen should be secretary, someone like
Yeah.
that. And then we have here knowledge to several people in Portugal.
Okay.
That's what we have here. And okay, and let's just remember we are 2 months from the launch, more or less.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Seriously
So,
past latest start. Seriously past due. Oh my.
okay, so who should we blame? Okay, Vitor Schiff is one of them. Start with in the
Well, that's
plane.
Victor Schiff. He can blame
Yeah,
him.
it's Vitor
It
Schiff.
says right
Yeah.
there. Let's see. Select vendors.
Okay, the actions were qualify parts, release something, quote computer, select vendors,
Purchase
incoming
materials.
inspection, pilot
Yeah.
run.
Produce 350. Neat. Earliest. Wow, this is so cool because, this is...
Is the to-do list?
Well, yeah, it gives you this insight to how much craziness was involved in...
The only thing I would love, but it doesn't happen, is that there was not this shield from Tony Gomes. So I think they look at Portugal mostly through Tony Gomes.
Okay.
So he would manage the plant here and everything would go through him. So I doubt you will find, so you see things like plant, but you don't see things like the names of the Portuguese guys also, because then I could go and ask them, what were you doing? Why did you get this delayed or what? Whatever.
So let's stop right here. So
I can zoom in if needed.
That's fine. So we've got the RFI plan from Billy Skirm, Victor Schiff, the pre-test specs. I'm not sure who Eckhart is, but Meliscus design specs. I think that's what D stands for, right?
Yep.
Advanced
design.
Rel. I'm not sure what that means, but then then go back to Eckhart for design specs. Drawing release from Schiff, qualifying parts. Right, selecting sources, and then the FCC documents down there at 121. I like 136, legal approval. That's an interesting thought, that never even occurred to me.
No, they were very serious about it.
Yeah.
They have where was I seeing that? Oh no, it was from the project that I was telling you about in China. So I have letters with the analysis and recommendation of their legal advisors about how to position, what to get approval, also to export computers to Poland. So we have many documents from legal advisors. So yeah, they were very careful with that.
Wow.
Doesn't surprise me.
Wow.
The other thing I can share with you is this. When we scan these documents, we created a folder. We just had to put some stickers to try to do a quick and dirty classification of things.
Right.
And there was one that me and the son of Álvaro Oliveira did, which was about kind of methodology or manufacturing process. I think that was the name we gave. So I do remember that there are very big diagrams with the workflow, with the methodology. So I wouldn't be so surprised if we can find something that somehow mimics what we are seeing here in this action list in terms of how you do something, because you have those kind of things. We have some of those kind of things.
Yeah, I bet it's related to those nodes where it says from to, right? I'm sure, I'm assuming that those numbers relate to some kind of workflow chart. Wow.
Normally in typical project management, that would be the predecessors and things like that. So it would be the ID of the action, but we don't see IDs like 5,000 something.
Yeah.
So it's not that, it's something else.
Yeah.
It can't be a date code.
No, because look at 145. Its 2 is 8600. And so these are, I think these are just sort of random, not random, but
Not random,
numbers
but
assigned to a process.
could it be from to? Could it be departments? No, it's
No,
lots of numbers.
I think I think it's perhaps kind of like a Gantt chart,
Yeah.
where you've got those stripes, and that may be how that this is done. At least, like, certainly you could do that with those numbers.
Yeah, and you have some numbers here, very small.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and they are not aligned with these ones. I don't know why. This one, so for here you see
Oh,
65. In
you're
the
talking
same
about the
line you
little
see
numbers on the left and
yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's
you see
just
49.
this stuff is called green bar.
Okay.
That's the kind of paper it is,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's like 14 inches across. And if you write a program that doesn't, in a language that doesn't have line numbers, that's what you use those numbers for
Okay.
on a
Okay.
mainframe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just learned something. Okay. Obtain equipment, approve modifications. Modifications were already delayed. Okay.
ROMs to
Purchase letter.
vendor. Slack left -1. Oh, wow.
Rewrite manual. Who was rewriting the manual? So
Oh,
this is about 1500. Who did the manual for the 1500? Do we know?
Chuck. Chuck, whose last name is I'm drawing a blank on right now.
It's not this
Yeah.
one? Skirm?
No,
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 this is
his
another
name's
one
not
you
in
know.
here. He was a contractor.
Okay. But probably this one was managing it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He would
Okay.
have paid that.
Skirm was also leading the FCC submit and approval.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So which ones of these are still alive and you are in contact with?
Well, Skirm's not.
Okay.
Um,
Schiff is not.
Actually, 119 is Margot Murphy, and she is line
Okay.
119.
119.
Yeah,
Oh,
below the
119.
Skirm.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yep,
Murphy.
that's Margot Murphy. She's still alive. I believe Victor Schiff lives out on the West Coast.
Victor Schiff, I think it's the one I was told last time he was living in Philippines or something like that.
Oh, right.
I
Okay.
think his last email was from Microsoft, so
Yeah.
he must have worked there.
Yep.
But he never answered to an email the times I
Oh,
tried.
that's
I
too
think he
bad.
spoke. I think Bruno Florin spoke with him once. I'm not sure.
I think Bruno did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's a pity because Lou Gailey and Vitor Schiff would be indeed two very interesting individuals to talk to. Okay.
I'm not sure about Carlos Dragovic. I would love to find out. I've been trying to find something, but I haven't found anything about him.
Okay.
This is neat. This is neat just in terms of timeline.
Yep. Okay.
Release to molding. Hey, check that out. That's cool. 226.
226. Yep.
Yeah. So that would be the folks, making
Really
the
start doing
making
it.
the case.
Start by this week. So
Look at
we
that.
are on the end of March.
They're on
And do
time.
next week. Yeah. Purchase materials, incoming, and then this one doesn't align.
Oh, yeah, this is a different view of this.
No, it's like we don't have the left part. We missed the left part of the document. There was an issue with the printing.
All right.
Because it's not continuing to the left.
All right.
Critical path. I like critical path.
That's what these numbers mean.
Yeah. I know the concept, so we used to work it when I did project management. So
oh, this is really cool.
Okay, but now we need to go up to see who were the guys on the critical path. Vitor Schiff had something that was not completed. RFI plan was not completed.
Look at one
week. Okay, so now we have the weeks.
Yeah.
Now, let's just think one, because I was trying to understand if the launch was somehow here. Revise bomb, revise.
I wonder if that week is how long or the week number.
It's a week number, I think.
You think so? Okay.
Oh, in how many weeks?
Yeah, 11 weeks to revise the build. Well, who knows?
It should be the week number. And it's complete already. Number. So we are, in this moment, we are on week, more or less, 4, 8, almost 12. So 11 is completed.
Mm-hmm.
13, 14, 15 is not completed. So let's see. Oh, but the ones that are not completed don't have a date. So it doesn't tell us
Okay.
that. But the highest number that we have here is what? 11,
11, it looks
10,
like.
11, 11. So it should be the week. 12, it's complete
Okay.
already. So it should be the week number.
Received IC. All right.
Receive PCV.
Yes. So yeah, 12 is the latest one. And then it's a series of zeros after that.
And it makes sense because you are on 13 or something, 26th of
Mm-hmm.
March. Just go and see the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1,000
Rewrite manual.
parts. Yeah.
So this gives a better view in terms of sequence of activities. Test unit, FCC approval. Now, perhaps we have another one in a later stage. That would be nice.
Estimate cost. I wonder what AFE stands for. The 201
AFC,
says
where do
line
you see it?
201 says raise AFE.
201 here, raise.
And then 210 is
Says
approve
computer.
AFE. Yeah, it says computer.
Production start. Production start will be here.
Yeah. A pilot run.
Release decision by Danny Ross.
Interesting. Right.
Ross. Modify.
Decision.
Release decision. So he was the one putting the stamp saying it's okay.
Yeah, that we're going to go forward.
Wow. Legal review.
The printer's proof of the manual.
Correct. This is
corrections
the manual.
of the manual.
Yeah. Foam. Foam samples.
Wonder what that means. Oh, for the
foam
packing.
For the polystyrene,
yeah,
something, whatever they use in the box for sure.
It was Chuck Durang who was writing the manual for that.
Okay.
We had him on one of our group meetings a little while ago. It was really cool to hear him talk about writing those manuals and how he got into it.
Okay.
And
project duration is 35. 35 weeks probably.
Yeah.
Half a year.
Wow. That's so nifty.
And now look at this. All the numbers here are below 35. So these numbers are, what was the beginning? Where's the other?
Okay, so time in weeks, estimate.
Time in weeks.
And then
estimated.
And then Slack, I'm not sure what LS, but I think that was.
It's Slack is related to the delay.
Yeah.
I think it is. And then the asterisks are either a note or something that is really, really on the critical path.
Yeah, right. Important to the critical path.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, this is just fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. We may have another one. I don't know. I don't know what are the rest. So let's see. Okay. First document from March that we saw.
That's insane.
And it's our third file. This one. The telex from, it's before the other one, from 10 of March. From Kim as Paternostros.
Yeah.
Okay, to all these guys. These parts cannot be used in TS1500 due to PC board layout for axial component. These leads are too short, so some capacitors probably. They can be used in TS1000. Electrically, they are equivalent to these capacitors.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Okay.
So these are my guess is radial where the leads come out the bottom.
But they were not big enough to use on the.
It's difficult to stretch them to fit.
Yeah.
Notice that we now have Scarlett's first name. It's Robert Scarlett. I saw his name on that document we just looked at.
Okay.
So that's someone else to track down.
That's your job, man.
Exactly.
I just give ideas. You go and chase them. Yeah, but I think it makes sense. And we also, I don't know if this is something interesting or not, but so we can also try to understand some
numbering system
numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same capacitor, and what they changed was the first part.
The first. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now at the same time, okay, but there are more things. Telecommunication message form, list recipients code from. This is probably it's the text to ask. Yeah, this is the text to ask for the telex to be read. Now, man, think about this. Why was this in Portugal? So everyone in TIMEX Portugal would tell us that they knew that Professor Álvaro Oliveira got 100 pounds of kilos of documentation.
Oh,
That documentation, Professor Álvaro Oliveira, the consultant that was basically supervising everything in the computer area over here.
yes.
And they knew that he had access to the documentation. I don't know why. And he brought it to Portugal. But the fact is, now I'm being a little bit mean, some of them say, oh, but that documentation never arrived to TIMEX. So he kept it. Now, I don't know why. I honestly don't want to enter into their obviously personal things between them about working in that period. But my question now, my rhetorical question is, but why the hell does he got this? Because even the original of the text that went into the telex that they got here, and again, there is no reason here for us to get this in Portugal.
Yep.
Because there's nothing here. There's no Gomes here. There's no Portuguese guy here that I recognize the name, and none of these names are Portuguese. So I don't get it why he got this. So probably, no, I know. I imagine. So I know that he became an advisor for TIMEX Group, TIMEX USA. And so as the computer business unfolded in USA, and Portugal kept going, if he was really connected to things in USA and no one was doing anything more about the computers, probably that was a reason for him to have access to some kind of documentation that could be relevant. And in the middle of all of this, probably some things like this came. They are amazing for us to have. But the fact is, come on, this is not a document made in Portugal. This is something made in US where no one from Portugal was involved.
Yeah.
And it ended up in this collection.
I just want to call out something on the left.
Yeah.
Just scroll back a little bit. These are
code.
The location codes for TIMEX factories and etc.
I'll tell you something better. I got from Luís Bandeira. He gave me an agenda with the contacts of all the plants of TIMEX in the world.
Wow.
And in each page, and there's one about Portugal, there's one about all the places, you have the main contacts with the name, the professional phone number, and the home phone number.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we can see if the numbers still work or not. So I have that. I never saw that before. And Luís Bandeira gave me that. So yeah, this is nice, but I think the other one is even better.
Even better. Yeah.
Yeah, we have that. We have that now. It will be scanned, obviously, and all that. Okay.
Oh.
Nathan to
Yay.
Tony Gomes, sometimes Tony, sometimes Anthony, 11 March. Portugal alternative, that thing we like.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah. Álvaro Oliveira, Pedro Esteves, José Tarouca, Nuno Amorim, and I don't know who this one is.
That's hard to read.
Yeah. Based on local development, Portugal are submitting for appraisal a version of TS based on current technology, which we will believe meet the requirements of marketing, finance, and FCC.
Nice.
Okay. What was the objective? Provide to marketing a product at the right time to counter our main competitors. Utilize the excess inventory held in Portugal as a result of TS1500 cancellation. Yeah. There is the story. I don't know if I told you this or not. I think I told you this before. There is the story, and I was in TIMEX, so I asked them again, that they buried certain of this material to be able to depreciate it. And then I think they got it back, or at least a part of it, and it was from the time of the 1000. A little bit like the ET cartridges for the Atari 2600. That's what it is. Okay, to utilize the excess labor created by cancellation, okay, to provide an alternative to new technology currently under development. The technical description, okay. All the capacities of TS1000 with expanded RAM, an improved interface computer cassette recorder, and a full-size moving keyboard. Computer memory map is paginated on 16K pages, being the first page for the ROM and remaining for the RAM. The RAM is 16K dynamic RAM, single supply, which could be located on the second or third page with a switch, allowing the user to use the computer in its basic version or an upgrade version with the use of 16K RAM packs. So their own ones with a total usable RAM of 32K. We spoke about this before.
Yeah.
The alteration is made with the exchange of bit A14 to A15 and RAM output enabled from ground to A14.
Neat.
Okay, for 32K page, being page address now. Okay. Okay, it features an improved serial interface with a 4000 baud rate with a base software and internal hardware, which gives a greater accuracy of the information recorded on tape.
Yeah.
The software has a choice of three main functions: fast load, fast save, and verify, being the first two improved version of Sinclair basic commands, but the verify feature allows you to check that the program is properly saved.
Yeah.
The full-size moving keyboard allows a user feedback permitting higher key entry of manual programming. TIMEX Portugal. Proposed price build-up.
Oh my.
Okay, dollars each. Landed cost as per attached bill of materials, 30. Scrap allowance 1%, 31. Added costs. Oh, this is something I learned this weekend. So there were people in the office area just doing overhead calculation. So they had a cost book for everything, and they were calculate all the kind of costs to be able to know how much it costs to do this, which makes sense, of course. But so the overheads here, not overheads, labor is not overhead, but so overheads are $1.31. Then development cost to depreciate that. And general and administration 0.51. And so you need to sum this. Then you add some markups, 5% and 9%. Billing price of the computer internally, $36
to manufacture. Wow.
How much did you pay for yours?
In 1983? Oh yeah, I didn't buy the 1500, but
Okay.
if it's sold for $79 in the stores, the stores probably had a
certain
30% markup, so they probably bought them for about $50-$60 each.
Okay. You want to know how much it cost the capacitor?
Yeah.
Oh no, total cost. Okay, this is the part number. Here we have. So now we have the part number with the rest. So the PCB cost $4.
They should go to JLC PCB. It's a lot cheaper.
What? Sorry?
There's a company called JLC PCB that I use a lot, and
it's cheaper.
It's a lot. Well, it might be about $4. It might, but figuring inflation and stuff, it's now a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. So all the parts, ULA. $3. Yeah.
Wow.
Zinc of aluminum, CPU, ROM.
Okay.
And ULA is the most expensive one. We don't know which ULA it was,
but just the fact. What about the RAMs?
Resistors.
Yeah, the resistor is about 1 cent. That makes sense.
And this is the cost per computer. So this is
yep.
0.003 or no 12. We need to make.
Yeah, so it's half.
Yeah,
half a cent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff gets cheaper the more you buy.
Yeah.
To a certain, Okay.
I do know one thing they tell me often is that a supplier would come and tell them, oh, you want to buy 1 million of this thing. Why? Oh, because Dundee just bought them. So there's a project coming. And so the sellers would push the need based on that.
So look at the cost of RAM. 2 chips, $8.
Yeah.
That's why they wanted to go from the 8-chip design to the 2-chip design. That's a serious cost reduction.
Yeah. Oh, the keyboard material. Oh,
99 cents.
Yeah. one thing I learned, the membranes and all of that, eventually this was developed in Portugal. The thing that was never developed in Portugal was the rubber itself, that special rubber. Pedro Esteves explained me that even the printing on the rubber has to be very special to resist. So that was never done in Portugal. All the rest, they were able to do it here. Final assembly, case bottom, feet, rubber,
Yeah.
screw, Phillips, label, serial number.
Wow.
The conversion and escudos by PG directly from vendors. Who is PG?
I don't know.
Plant?
I don't know. That's a good question. PG. Portugal.
Portugal.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably.
Remember from
Normally
the
we use
telex codes.
PT, but probably it could be PG. Yeah.
Yeah, from those
PG,
telex
PG,
codes.
PG, PG, PG. No, it's not a telex here. It's another. Okay. So what is
Oh,
this? Oh, the
oh,
specification with the
oh,
colors.
neat.
Pantone, frost silver, aluminium. This is Portuguese document, listed material.
Yeah,
Decalc, which is the name for the sticker, TS1500.
yeah. We got the Pantone. We now know the
83, 9 of March 83.
yeah,
Materials,
Lexan polycarbonate. Interesting. Very cool.
March 19. Circuit modification to improve save operation fiability. This is from Antonio Gomes to Álvaro Oliveira.
Yeah.
So this is something that probably they complain in US and he's replying to his own team. And here is Álvaro Oliveira, Rosalina. No, this is to Antonio Gomes from Álvaro Oliveira. Okay.
Yeah.
And RA is Rosalina Alves, the person I referred before. Okay. Present and reliability of save operation derives from the low output level of the mix check. Improve reliability achieved by increasing the signal
To
noise
noise.
ratio level. Yeah.
Yeah, that
The
makes
high
sense.
attenuation between the signal coming out of the ULA and the mic check is imposed by the band pass filter.
Mm.
This filter has a peak at something. Okay,
Yep.
the output
Yep.
was improved by 40 decibels by signal amplification without changing the filter characteristics. Circumscription showing red on the TS
Oh,
1500. Now another one from him,
oh, how to
32K
achieve the
option.
32K. Yeah.
Yeah, March 19. Both of them are from the same date.
Switch and a NAND gate.
Relocating the internal to the after. So this is what we saw before.
Yeah.
And now, so do you see? This is something. Look, we are not here in a fight or any competition between US and Portugal. But reading this, it seems to me okay. This was clearly engineering done here.
Yep.
We are obviously we can assume this was on the Portuguese version that they were proposing. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, so they came up with that solution probably.
Well, and point two there is that the external RAM pack you can't change where
Yeah.
it appears in memory. So
But you can
what you do is remap the internal
yeah.
memory. Yeah.
And then there's a switch and an AND gate.
Yeah. The switch didn't make it. And I think that's just because they can detect whether a RAM pack is plugged in
or not.
Yeah. In a different way.
Okay. And
Neat.
this ends here. Very well. How many do we have? Because
I think
I'm running out of time.
Okay.
Let's just see if they are from here or not. So it's a telex from March. Have received prototype of your 1500 from Ernaden and have submitted it for RFI testing.
Okay. Makes sense.
Who's sending this? Legally. Ilan J. Karsaf will supervise text. Expected in no more than 2 weeks. Will inform you of results as soon as I get them. Look, we are at 2 months from the release and they're still playing with which version they're going to do. So they were doing both.
And the very important RFI testing, as it's pointed out.
And another one.
It was huge.
Would you please define a TS 1500 test plan? So this is to Álvaro Oliveira. Kurt. Along the lines of the TS 2000 plan, which I sent you. Please feel free to comment there any issue you'd like to discuss. And Eckhart. Connie was the secretary of Tony Gomes.
Okay.
Por favor, saber qual a posição deste assunto. What this means is, please find out what is the position, what we think about this matter. It's signed by someone.
Okay.
3-4.
Or 314? 3
or 3-4, which could be something from March. I don't know.
Yeah.
March, April.
Hard to say.
Because this is the end of April, so it could be 3 of April.
Yeah.
But so this was sent to Álvaro Oliveira, and this is to go to Tony Gomes also. But you see, now they are not going through Tony Gomes; they're going directly to Álvaro Oliveira, who supervises the technical thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is it from March. So we can claim we concluded March. We have 2 documents to move to May. And yeah, this is it. Another episode, some more findings, and let's go on.
Some really nifty stuff in this one, man. I mean, just when you think, oh, there, what else could be discovered? What new is there to uncover? And you pull something out of a hat there, Joao.
And well, we are just the keepers of the information, and this is a very interesting way to go through it and start learning. The problem is I don't know if we have time to go through everything in the next 30 years of our life, but let's
Right,
see.
right.
We
I
can
think
also spend 6 months together doing this or something.
well, Joao, thank you. I feel even further enlightened, and I'm looking forward to our next episode.
Okay, let's try to do it with a fast pace and
Yes.
to keep things hot. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Joao.
Okay, see you.